Okay, the holiday season is about to kick into high gear next week, and that means stress levels are going to be going into overdrive.
Whether you're shopping or taking in the sights around the city, recent incidents like the shooting at the Bryant Park skating rink and the Garden State Plaza Mall are causing some people to question their personal safety. Here to help relieve some of that anxiety is licensed clinical psychologist Dr. Joe Taravella. Thanks very much for being with us, Dr. Joe.
Thanks for having me.
Can I call you that, or should I call you Dr. Taravella?
Dr. Joe's good.
Call you doctor.
Good. Less stress.
Right.
This one at the Bryant Park skating rink was really scary because that's such a wonderful destination this time of year. They have the open-air holiday market, and when you're outdoors like that, I mean, there's no limited entrance to the place. Anyone could walk in off of a city street. What advice do you have for people?
You know, it's important to stay focused on the holiday season and remember that these incidences of tragedies are extremely rare.
I think that's so important to stress that, you know, the coverage makes it seem like it's an epidemic almost, but it's very rare. Now, that's outside. Inside, of course, we had the shooting at the Garden State Plaza. What are some tips to staying safe and a little less stress-free in the mall?
Yes, you know, that one hit close to home for us. It's a mall for many of us.
Yeah.
But really, you want to be aware of your surroundings and just notice where the exits are, where the security guards are, to increase your sense of security that things are okay, and if you need to exit, you know where it is, or if you need to ask for help, you know who to go to.
If crowds freak you out, is it okay to just avoid crowds?
Well, that would be impossible in New York City.
Yeah.
But just remember,
shop online.
Right. You're traveling with your loved ones, and so that will bring some kind of sense of security for you as well.
It seems like, you know, the more information you have, the more control you have, the less stress you have. So help us plan some of our trips and help us plan some of the activities that we're likely going to do for the holidays that involve the skating rink or the mall.
Yes, you know, you want to remember that flying is 22 times safer than traveling by car. So if you're traveling with your family in that mode, you know, remind them that it's very safe.
Right.
You want to create a safe spot, you know, where you can go to if you get separated or some kind of tragedy does happen. So make that type of a plan. Also have an emergency contact list on each person in your family, so you know how to contact everybody as well.
And maybe with your kids, write phone number, address, all that stuff on something inside their coat.
Yes, inside their belongings, so whether they're at school or in a mall or wherever it may be, they have that information on them. You know, when I grew up, we only had one 7-digit home phone number, and now it's, you know, cell phones, homes, and work numbers. So it's a good idea to have that so the kids know they can find you easily.
And often we don't know those numbers
because they're
we
just
don't
a
really
button.
dial them anymore.
We don't dial them anymore. That's right. Yes.
Yeah, you got to have them written out, and the kids need to know too.
Yes.
Yeah. What is the 1, 2, 3 step rule?
It's a great rule, and I do this with my kids as well. You want to tell them they can't be more than 3 steps away from you. So they're in close proximity, and you always have your eye on each other.
You also advise families to tell your kids, go find a store clerk if we get separated. Although that can be tricky. I get stopped all the time in stores, and people ask me, do you work here?
Yes.
So how do you tell your kid to identify a store clerk?
Right. You tell them to look for someone who's wearing a badge or something identifiable that that person is working in the store. Perhaps they're behind the counter at the register, and when you go into the stores, just remind them and show them that person works here, you know, and what are some of the characteristics that they'll be able to identify.
When does stress become anxiety? When does anxiety become a problem?
A lot of people get stressed out during the holidays. There's a lot to get done and manage, but you need to remind yourself that you do this every year, and so you can handle it. When you start to notice you're not sleeping well, you're irritable, you become more forgetful, that's when it really starts to take over.
And there are so many stress triggers, even though this is supposed to be a happy time of year. It really isn't for a lot of people. What advice do you have to avoid the triggers?
Focus on the positive. It helps you to stay in a positive mindset and also to cope better with things that are happening and all that you need to get done. Like you said, John, do some online shopping. Make it easier for yourself. You know, limit your alcohol intake. Try and focus on getting more sleep, getting some exercise, and just taking care of yourself and staying positive.
The occasional carol doesn't hurt either. Maybe some nice music, too. All good stuff, Dr. Joe Taravella. We appreciate your insight. And if you'd like to learn more, you can visit our website, WLNYTV.com.